how much rehab is enough rehab or too much on a rental, right? So I guess this kind of goes for flips too. Um, Try not to get carried away. It's really easy to get carried away. Don't get carried away. You don't make money in real estate getting carried away with doing crazy stuff in rentals or flips, right? Anyway, mostly like first time home buyer stuff, right? But I guess the first thing to know, let's just mainly talk about rentals and doing rehabs. First thing you need to know is know your market, right? So for example, and let's say you're in a nicer city, some have some same location, let's just say the houses are on the same exact street, right? But one house is maybe outdated, doesn't really have new paint, just looks like tired and beat up, right? So that place might rent out for 14, 1500, right? Same street, that same house with a new bathroom, new kitchen, fresh paint, looking good, that might rent out for 2000 or 2200, right? So in that case, it usually makes sense to make the place a little nicer, right? Because you have enough upside. You have tenants willing to pay that because it's a nicer area, right? Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, let's say in a not so nice area, like 2 or 3 notches down from the nice area, you have same house on the same street, same exact example as before. One house rents for 1,000, the other one rents for 1,200, right? So there you don't really have, that big difference in delta, right? So obviously there's no use to doing a full rehab in a place like this, right? Where even if you do a full rehab, you're only getting a $200 rent premium. And I'm saying like full rehab, like, shaker cabinets, granite, all that stuff, right? Like markets like that don't, right, goes back to knowing your market. Markets like that don't need that, right? And even if you do, let's say you do a full rehab on a house like that, and then you're like, well, I can charge like 1,400. And sure, you could if you find a right tenant, right? But that tenant that's willing to pay 1,400, they're probably willing to pay 1,400 for a tired house in a nicer area than a really nice house in a not so nice area, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. And I guess my usual rule of thumb is when I buy a house or a unit or whatever it is, right, I always err on refinishing the kitchen and the bathroom if it's in good shape, right? Because you've walked into houses that the kitchen and bathroom, they look like new, but they're like 20, 30 years old, right? But you can paint those white, refinish them, refinish the countertop, maybe put a new countertop on it, right? Those old tiles that they have in a lot of houses that were built in like the 50s, you can reglaze those and it makes the bathroom look brand new. And I think a lot better than, maybe not a lot better than like throwing up some cool tile, but right, it's a fraction of the cost. It takes a few days to turn that unit instead of maybe a month, running through permits, running through contractors, all the stuff that it would take to run a new kitchen and bath, right? So I always err on just refinish, and all my places that are in a nicer area, that's what I've done, and I still get the higher premium because the house is just nice, right? It's all freshly painted. It looks nice. It's got good curb appeal. It doesn't smell like a 50-year-old house, like the $1,400 one, right? People can just tell when they walk into a place that's nicely taken care of compared to not, right? So I guess the main thing on what your rehab should entail for a rental is first know the market, know what the competition has and what they're renting for, right? And the second is like know your tenant, right? What does the tenant expect, right? So in that lower area, the tenant's not going to expect granite, shaker cabinets, soft close, right? They don't expect that for the 1,200. They just expect a house that's nice and clean and, right, a nice place to live, right? They don't expect all that stuff. Where, as I said, in the higher priced areas, a lot of those tenants would not so much expect, but would like and would be willing to pay more for those features, right? So know your market, know your tenant. It's hard to kind of justify or know how to kind of talk about it because every market's different, right? And it just depends on what your market is and what kind of rehab you do to that unit, right? So always important. Number one rule, don't get carried away, because it's really easy to get carried away on a flip and doing a lot of stuff that you think you like, but someone else might not, right? So just an important thing to keep in mind. But anyway, hope this video helped. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you have a unit that you're looking to rehab for a rental in your market, let me know. I can help you figure out what stage to rehab it to by looking at some comps with you. So anyway, drop a comment, shoot me a line. Be glad to help. So talk to you later.